SEC because it is now clearer than ever that the SEC is completely wrong about what is a security and what is not in this market. And every time they say that it is obvious and clear that certain tokens, which are their securities, are good, they are just making that up. In this video, I have some very important news about that and about the end of the video that we need to talk about. One of the biggest banks in the world made a comment about how long this crypto bear market will last. Trust me, you will definitely want to be there for that. Like always, your help is so important to this channel. Please take a moment to click like and subscribe to my channel. It will really help me out a lot. Also, if you ever need a good place to buy XRP or the Flare token, check out the link in the description of this video for my favorite exchange. Now that that's out of the way, let's get started, and I hope you enjoyed the content. Let's get right into the video, and I want to start by talking about the SEC's huge loss. This will hurt the SEC's ability to figure out which crypto assets are securities and which are not in the future. So, Justin, we know that the U.S. House Financial Service Committee has released a new draft of legislation to regulate stablecoins. The bill says that stablecoin issuers must be approved by the government and follow rules. It also says that stablecoins should not be regulated by the SEC because they are not securities. This is a huge deal because Gary Gensler and the SEC have said more than once that they consider stablecoins to be securities. Gary Gensler has gone out of his way to call stablecoin securities. A couple of months ago, it was clear that Gary Gensler meant to say that the stablecoin market was full of unregistered securities. And right now, the legislation that Congress is putting forward to regulate the stablecoin market doesn't call stablecoins securities. This means that the SEC isn't good at figuring out what is and isn't a security on the market. Now, the SEC is supposed to know a lot about securities, but it's clear that they made a huge mistake right now. And that makes me wonder what else the SEC has done wrong. The SEC made it clear that XRP is a security. Did they make a mistake? The SEC tried to say that the token from the library was a security. They got that wrong for sure. The judge made it clear that the token is not a security in and of itself. So, what we keep seeing is that the SEC doesn't know how to figure out what is and isn't a security in this market. I think what we all need to know is that Gary Gensler is wrong when he says that all crypto tokens are securities. That is not the law, and the SEC does not agree with him. This is just his own opinion, which doesn't mean anything. Most people don't agree with Gary Gensler, as we can see. These tokens are not financial instruments. I think the same thing will keep happening over the next few months and years. The SEC will be shown to have been wrong the whole time. There was never anything that was clear and obvious. And it was clear and obvious the whole time that these tokens were not securities. What is a security? An ICO is the sale of a token before it exists. This is a security, but the token is not a security. Gary Gensler has been brought up to say that the token itself is a security. We can see, though, that his reasoning is wrong. If Gary Gensler was using good reasoning, he wouldn't be in a position where laws are being written that go against what he said. This alone should make it hard for Gary Gensler to diagnose any cryptocurrency in the future, and it will be a huge blow to his reputation. Hit to the SEC from here on out. And I want to show you one more thing that really puts the cherry on top, because the Luna token was called not a security in South Korea earlier today. Now, the Luna token went to zero. You might think that the government would really crack down on this one. We are seeing that regulators and courts all over the world can actually use logic. Without listening to the SEC try to overreach into this market, they can look at the laws that say what makes something a security and figure out what's going on. The rest of the world is starting to realize that these crypto tokens are not securities at all. The SEC says it's clear that they are. But as more things like this come out, we and the general public are starting to realize that the SEC is not following the law when it comes to regulating the market. Instead, the SEC is following a plan that gives them more power and more money. Now, the good news is that our government finally sees that the SEC is going too far. In these new bills, they don't give them control of the stablecoin market because of this. We can also see that courts in the US and around the world agree that the SEC is going too far. And we see that other regulators in other places are giving crypto the clarity it needs, which the SEC is not willing to do. Everyone is ignoring the SEC show, which is why this is such good news. No one believes that they are right when they say that everything is a security. One of my biggest worries was that everyone would just believe what the SEC said. People weren't going to look into whether or not the SEC's argument was legal. Instead, they were going to say, "Oh well, the SEC is in charge of securities," and not look into it. They say that these things are investments. So I guess they're right, so let's just listen to them. That is not what is happening right now, which is a huge win. Let me tell you right now that Gary Gensler wanted everyone to listen to him. He wanted everyone to come in and sign up so that he could make this a security in the business world. That is not what is happening, and that is a huge win for the future. So I'm going to move on and quickly talk about something that isn't getting a lot of attention, which 24 Hours actually pointed out. Crypto. Now I think it's so funny that XRP is one of the few tokens that is always said to have bad tokenomics. And I've never understood this because, in my opinion, XRP has some of the best tokenomics out there, even better than Bitcoin. Just because there are a lot of XRP doesn't mean it has bad tokenomics. That makes no sense, since all it does is make XRP cheaper. It lets you own more XRP instead of less Bitcoin, but the same price growth is still possible if the asset does well in the future. So why do people say that XRP's token economics are bad? Well, they say it's because Ripple is selling off XRP, but that doesn't really change anything because we still know the total amount. It's not like new XRP appears out of thin air. We all know that there will only ever be 100 billion XRP in the world. That's not a big surprise. Ripple isn't just making more XRP. So the system is not going up in price. We all know how much XRP has ever been in circulation, and that won't change. What else is going on with XRP that hardly anyone talks about? Well, XRP is being used up pretty quickly. Right now, this is being looked at by 24 Hours Crypto. And what we can see is that in the last 36 days, 100,000 XRP have been burned, which means that 100,000 XRP have been used up. This is a very impressive rate, and it's something I never thought I'd see. The XRP ledger is still not being used by a large number of people. With every transaction, a certain amount of XRP is burned. Think about what will happen when big central banks build CBDCs on the XRP ledger. The amount of volume on the XRPL and the amount of XRP being burned will both go through the roof. This will actually make XRP a lot less valuable. The total amount of XRP will be going down at a very fast rate. So, if you buy XRP right now and don't do anything with it, the laws of economics will work in your favor to make the price of XRP go up. And that's before it's used by a lot of people, which I think we can all agree is coming. This is so important to understand because I think people don't pay enough attention to how XRP tokens work. No one ever mentions how important this is. I think XRP has some of the best tokenomics out there, but people just say they're bad to try to flood the XRP ledger. XRP is completely deflationary and has a hard cap, which is better than almost every other cryptocurrency. Now, I think that one day, as the number of transactions on the XRPL goes up, the amount of XRP burned in each transaction will have to go down. Imagine if we had 10 times as much activity on the XRP ledger as the 100,000 XRP that has been burned in the last 36 days. It would be 1 million XRP though. And you can start to see how quickly this could get worse. But if you buy XRP right now, you are getting in before all of this deflation, which is something no one talks about. As more and more people start to use the XRP ledger, I think we'll end up with half the amount of XRP we have now. And that doesn't even take into account how many people will lose XRP. Just remember this. People always talk about tokenomics, but they don't pay any attention to this. Last but not least, I just want to add this because I thought it was pretty interesting. I saw earlier today on Twitter that Standard Chartered thinks the crypto bear market is over. Now, I find this very interesting because banks are now pushing a different side of the story that is actually pro-cryptocurrency. During this bear market, I've seen a lot of banks come out and start saying good things about cryptocurrencies. Now, I think this is happening because these big banks are starting to realize that fintech companies might eat their lunch if they don't start using some of this new technology to compete with them. Because of this, we're actually seeing some banks start to work with cryptocurrency, which can only be good for cryptocurrency in the long run. Now, this is also very interesting because I hear a lot of people saying in my direct messages that we're nowhere near the bottom. What we need to know is that XRP has lost 85% of its value since its high point. Everyone who talks about investing says to wait until the price of a cryptocurrency drops by 85% to 90% before buying it. We're close to the bottom, and we're a lot closer to the bottom than we are to the top. So just know that you'll never buy exactly the bottom. But what we do know is that we are in a place where most bottoms take place. We've already gone down a lot, so don't try to guess when we'll reach the bottom. Understand? The most important groups in the world are telling you that we've hit rock bottom. And if history has taught us anything, it's that cryptocurrencies don't stay cheap for very long. Anyway, thanks a lot for coming, guys. I hope this update was fun for you. If you did, it would mean a lot if you liked and subscribed. And that's all.